Played it there for Ghost in game number 1, and then Syndra also off the board. So nothing too shocking from the red side.
Syndra continues her undefeated streak, 6-0. Only one game where she was neither picked nor banned. It's probably at 98% now. Is that to add up those games to the total? Let's see where BBQ want to go. I want BBQ to shape a drop. I'd like to see BBQ lead like teams can on the blue side. That's a junk ban with the LeBlanc. No one's really playing LeBlanc anymore. Kura has never been a LeBlanc player, and it seems like they're fishing for a big first pick. What will Afreeca Freecs decide they are happy to leave open?
We saw, several bans there from Afreeca in game 1, Nidalee, J4, and Lee Sin, all available at the moment.
It feels like one of those games where we're going to have really powerful, even second-round picks, given how much is open.
I mean, you would guess right now the last pick from Afreeca would have to be the Zac.
And are you happy to leave up Elise for Bless, given BBQ's lack of form? And well, BBQ doesn't want to even investigate that particular proposition, so the Trinity is brought down to 2. Lee Sin and Zac still available. Leaving Zac open seems like perhaps a bad idea, given his power level is absurdly high on patch 7.10.
Yeah, so will be the final ban, but like you said, the Lee Sin still going to be one of those picks that could come through.
And Bless's Lee Sin is decent, but not necessarily peanut tier. Not many are.
Well, they'll lock it in all the same.
Spirit played it twice in his last series, so there's a takeaway pick in many ways. But guess what's open, Achilleos?
Rumble has made it through, and Marin is more than happy to take this in pretty much any circumstance. Could just go ahead, see Crazy pick up the cannon yet again, but we saw getting that first blood, paying some attention towards that top side of the map for Spirit, just helped snowball Marin.
And I'm psyched. I get to see Marin on Rumble, something that's been denied from us basically the entire season. So, given how many target bans he's had on the Rumble, say whatever you want about Doran's shield, slightly curbing some power from the Yordle in the top lane. Marin is perhaps the world's best Rumble. It's going to be a fun matchup, whatever comes through. Tempt may actually be jumping on his pentakill champion. Got a pentakill right at the start of spring season on the Talia.
Yep, we'll go ahead, lock this one up. Where do they want to go here? Pick up an ADC perhaps before we see the pool pinched even further?
This is the spot, as you say. The double bans can stop coming around, so unless Ghost wants to go something different, if he wants Varus, this is the time. And instead, that it's going to go super lane focused, or at least consider going super lane focused. Going to go with the Jace, and it's probably, almost certainly a top lane Jace in this scenario.
I mean, where else would it go? Jungle's already occupied.
I know, even
Malrong's not on the team.
It's so crazy that we have to say jungle's already occupied. Hey, AD carry with teleport is still available, Achilleos.
That's true. And if Mana was in here, then we could call the support as well.
The one-handed support would be available.
All
and
right.
Kuro's like, well, I hit my 1,000 kills. Someone else can carry.
Yeah, I'll just sit back and justice punch people, taunt them, etc.
Could still be the support coming through from Tucson, who does have that eclectic pull, but heavily, heavily expected to be the mid lane Galio that Kuro played in all 3 games in his most recent series.
Well, ban away the Kalista, since they don't take it this time. Caitlyn for Kramer. I'm surprised we haven't seen more people go for the likes of the Twitch.
As you say, Twitch has been, especially with Doran's shield, people were saying Twitch, it's the time, you can get him through any laning phase. Yet most people have been reticent to open up. Twitch is pretty risky against Rumble just because Equalizer can force his positioning and you lose out a lot of damage, and something like the Braum is banned away, interestingly, by BBQ, even though you could see Braum being a very useful tool on the side of Afreeca. Actually, sorry, just let's wind back that logic. Braum will be a very useful tool against Twitch, and Twitch is kind of being threatened if you're banning Braum on blue side, so BBQ is basically saying, hey, we're going to play Braum. We're going to play Twitch, sorry. Logic got mixed up a couple of times there.
Can't even blame it on it being a long day.
No, I can't. It's been too short a day as well. BBQ just decide not to ban. Finally do ban the Thresh, so just going double support ban to Tucson.
All right, the last couple seconds there. Take that one off the board.
2 melee supports and Thresh, all with similar identities, banned away.
You can just keep this super simple here on the side of Afreeca, pick up the Karma.
I'd love the Lulu, actually, for the heroic entrance into the wild growth, for just the maximum amount of being bounced up in the air And guess what?
Oh,
Plays
dear.
pretty well. As we're going to see the jungle Olaf come through. Lulu support could definitely be considered. They're kind of waiting to see what they need to pair with the Caitlyn.
I mean, the Galio still is technically the flex, as you mentioned before, so we could be waiting to see that last pick mid lane for Koro.
And Kate Galio is actually pretty dirty because you just instant delete waves the moment they even come to lane. So they're leaving that option open to them. It will not be the Twitch, but it'll be Xayah once again from BBQ. We've seen quite a bit of Xayah this week. What they were willing to go to Rakan as well.
Yeah, did they just do the Lovers bot lane?
They could. And you have to decide, though, is there synergy with it? And the answer is not really. No one else is diving in when everyone's being womboed in the air. We saw Ever8 try that, and they will not be going Lovers, at least as of now. We've seen a lot of Blitzcrank recently. Totoro has always been a melee support, and he will be another player to add a summer game on Blitzcrank to his list. Cool to see.
All right. So what's it going to be? Final pick. Does it go to Koro, or does he just maintain with the Galio? I mean, if that is going to be for Tucson, if he body blocks those hooks coming through in the bottom side of the map,
I mean, just
suddenly you're in taunt range.
Who are you hooking exactly on the side? Is all right,
Okay.
There's a Nunu. That could actually be bot lane Nunu.
I think it is.
It's probably not going to be
Not
mid
gonna
lane
be a
Nunu.
mid-lane Nunu. So,
All right, well, we've got a Nunu in the game, and yep, you can hook maybe the Caitlyn and no one else on the side of Afreeca Freecs.
I mean, Nunu will be very squishy early on.
We're back to the Season 1 solo queue meta of pick a Mumu, and if the Blitzcrank hooks him, well, free initiation.
Yeah, I mean, I was used to, having the likes of the Vayne tied in with that Nunu for that Blood Boil, but maybe we'll get to see the mechanic of the Blood Boil on the Rift Herald this time.
Oh, baby, I really hope so, Achilleos. Might even see a maxing of Blood Boil from the support Nunu. Support Nunu, oh boy.
This is interesting. Well, Tucson brought out the Camille support here.
And support Nunu is
Korea.
endorsed by Riot Games. There is a support Nunu skin, of course, in the TPA line of the Season 2 champions.
This is true.
All right, then. We went to Silly Street here with the last pick. We're like, I wonder what the support will be. And
All
Tucson's
right.
like, I'll find a new one.
And somehow this is the game that Afreeca Freecs lose, and then it's the one that you just ignore during the VOD review. So you know what? It ended up picking me.
I wonder if Nunu will go for Ancient Coin so he can get even more upgrades on his abilities. Because remember the way the passive works now. At level 10, you could actually have a level 16 ultimate.
That would be pretty crazy. All right. I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be asked. Tucson, yet again, surprising us with his pick. Still haven't seen an Aurelia support, but maybe by the end of the summer. But for now, we'll have to settle for the Nunu. So let's go ahead, load on to Summoner's Rift for what could be our final game of the night. Afreeca Freecs versus BBQ round 2. All right, teams still hanging in there. BBQ fans still being quite vocal.
Does feel like at some point, Achilleos, the sub-goal of the Korean players in the LCK is to get wins on every champion during the course of LCK summer.
Tucson, he's working their way.
Signs for the audience on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Actually, no, that was actually on the side of BBQ. I tell a lie. Wanting that anything will change in Game 2. They settle for 1 kill, as Spirit has chosen to go Frat Party Olaf. That's what I call the pink chroma.
He does love himself that Olaf.
I haven't heard Korean Nunubot. Now I really want to hear Korean Nunubot. I bought Nunubot.
That skin is great.
It is
the
great.
Devour and delicious.
Bring the skins back. Gentleman Cho'Gath, Nunubot. I want to see them all.
So we'll see how this Olaf goes. We've seen it twice already for
How many
Spirit.
people do you think of the people watching this broadcast? I'll hold the point. Clear the ward.
Got come down there from Kuro. And the Raptors just going to be biting at the ankles, attempting crazy. Hook already down onto Kramer in the bottom lane.
Let's get the
Action-packed.
onto the Colossus proc. Spirit's fighting for this red buff. Does get momentary vision when he throws a hook, but the axe is on cooldown. They just lose red buff because Crazy invests all his time early into helping with that objective.
Yeah, they'll just take that one away. So Spirit going to have to hightail it down into that lower half of the jungle.
Does mean he will lose multiple camps on the top side. Hasn't used that much mana.
He's got a ward here if Kuro wants to start.
That's just
up.
really low.
He is. He's going to get slowed up. Axe comes through, and they just hand over the kill. Nope. Spirit's just going to take it. So, Bless, well, you start things off really well, and then you ruined it all. You really messed up.
That was real bad from the side of BBQ. Bless realized the moment the axe hit that if he flashed, he would have died anyway.
Never do that again.
Thanks, Nunubot.
Oh, dear.
Just for a point, how many people watching this broadcast know the source material of Nunubot? Because that's actually a real deep cut. You may not even know it, Achilles. Some very famous YouTube videos by, I believe it was a Russian YouTuber, about the Nunubot, and there was a whole line of superheroes and supervillains.
Then yeah, I don't think I know this.
There's some really good source material. If you look it up, look up the origins of Nunubot. There's some really fun stuff there. Very old meme.
I mean, I might as well just do that now because well, Bless has already ruined this early game, so I think I've got a couple minutes to spare for some reading.
Oh dear. Well, I don't know what's going on in the BBQ camp, but I liked the level 1 until the part where he overstayed and then even had flash, but was going to die anyway. Spirit even stole away a buff.
Oh, hello.
Blitzcrank.
Yeah, Kramer's going to go down. Flashes away. The Ignite was there. Does get finished off. Tucson trying not to get rooted here by Ghost, so no more perfect game for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, you're right. First kill claimed in the third minute of the second game. Tucson did not go the coin build for trolling us with level 16 ult at level 10.
Bless is taking away the blue buff, and see Spirit's on the complete opposite side of the map, even though it's warded out and he sees this. Just nothing to be done.
It's a nice hook from Totoro. He's hit 2 so far, one at level 1, and much more consequential one, just as we were speaking. To arrest the jungle disaster that was Lee Sin dying early.
Bless is going to be taking this one away. So still keeping on pace with Spirit at the moment as those double buffs coming through. So in a decent enough spot, we'll just go ahead and get a nice little look at the hook.
Kramer had flash available.
Yeah, straight into the root. Goodbye.
Well, if you don't flash the hook against Flash Ignite Blitzcrank, can't argue too much with the results. Nice stuff from Totoro there. Always been a big melee support player. Played a lot of Braum out of meta when everyone else was spamming Lulu Karma and Zyra.
TP back into the mid lane. See that Dark Seal coming through here for Kuro.
And he was blood boiled, so the Justice Punches were coming in even more. I know that's name and ability, but you follow what I'm saying.
Well, it was a pretty catastrophic start for BBQ, but we turned it around.
Their first kill of the series, as you mentioned, went to the Blitzcrank. MVP so far for BBQ. And still farming up a Storm, and, well, Totoro doesn't have his boots for roaming, but still is going to be roaming into the mid lane.
See just how effective he could be. Pushed out of that bottom lane with the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, they have a control ward and the only river ward, so bot lane was happy times for them. Haven't walked over the control ward yet, but can look to clear that as he gets back into lane.
Yeah, it's just really no way for Tucson and Kramer to try to contest that.
One of the reasons why Nunu fell off was that his laning phase doesn't offer very much. Just while it's a targeted ability, the Ice Blast only does so much. No points in Consume. Maybe a point at level 8 to help with Secure. Apart from that, that's all you get.
Oh, just a couple pixels off, it seemed. Kramer not going to get caught out that time.
Interrupting in the back.
Yeah, he's going to get stopped out. Plus he's here to back him up, gives him that shield, and just mitigate a little bit more of that damage from the Equalizer.
Kurod walked up for the heroic entrance to the top lane. Not quite needed in the bot lane, but definitely some pressure needed.
Maybe be considered. You see that hook come through immediately, Hero's entrance in onto the target, but now Bless going to get chased down. Axe not going to connect this time around. Bless does have a ward, so he can jump over the wall. Weaver's wall, speaking of which, going to be coming through. Heroic entrance from Kuro arrives. Shock Blast connects in onto the Olaf, and he's quite low. No Ragnarok yet for him, and now Kuro in a very bad spot. Taunt getting ready to come through. Will flash away, but the resonating strike is there from Bless. One more hit would do it. Temp flashing over the wall, comes up with a kill. Can he find more? Seismic Shove will be flashed away by Marin as he keeps himself alive, but BBQ But 2 more kills on the board.
And Tempt on that champion, picked up a pentakill on a really nice weave as well. No way out for Spirit, even though he has flash. Didn't even notice that. Decided not to flash out. The flash used by Kuro as another hook hitting him bot lane.
Yeah, that's going to be the root
Knight's
coming
back
through
up.
on the Tucson. He's going to go dangerously low.
They don't.
Already been burned out. Still has the flash. They want to try to trade this one back. Totoro taking quite a bit of damage here from Kramer, but still just not quite having the damage to finish him off. The double daggers only helping so much.
Some steadfast use of summoners there as Crazy's overextended.
Yeah, hello. Gonna flash immediately. The speed comes through the scrap shield, but Bless in the vicinity. Spot him out with that control ward in the brush.
A lot of action there. BBQ not using heal or ignite to potentially take down the Nunu. Or allowing the Blitzcrank, escorting him out there was surprising. Just trusting in the passive from the Blitzcrank. Kramer actually didn't have heal available. If they looked to go all in on the support, they would have picked up a kill. We see the replay here. Only now am I realizing that it's Flash Olaf as everyone missed skill shots. Actually, when Spirit walks away, it's a pretty awful
he doesn't have Ghost.
He has Flash, so he could have flashed over the wall, but he had to stay because they used Heroic Entrance. But kind of at this point, they're like, wait, we don't really have the mana bars to make anything else happen. Kuro used almost all of his mana getting in with that Heroic Entrance and still flashes when the Resonating Strike is available. So that's pretty sloppy stuff on the both sides. Spirit knew that his best hope was to trade a kill at the last, not to be. And BBQ actually end up with a kill lead early in the game, but not much of a gold lead to go with it.
Yeah, just a couple 500 here in their favor. Mountain Drake, a bit too dangerous for them to try to commit in for. We'll just tag it for now. Nothing else going to be found at the moment. But, I mean, the question that I asked when we were coming into this game was, can they replicate it? Right now, the answer is going to be no from the side of Afreeca.
And look, replicating a perfect game is asking for too much.
I just meant the cleanliness of the play.
Well, you know, you can bring a horse to water, but once you give Afreeca Freecs a win, they all get a little bit style pointsy. For example, Tucson jumping onto the support Nunu, case example number 1. There were other supports available, whatever he says, if he wins an MVP. Reminds me of the good old Wraith saying, my champion pool was gone, I had to play Lux.
Roam up to the top side here from Tempt. Be threatening for the Weaver's Wall.
Arn doesn't have flash.
It's going to be the jump in here from Crazy, just trying to whittle away at the Rumble where he can. Gets a couple smacks down. Shock Blast will connect, but Tempt, he pops a Ghost and can't get anything else done.
He just thought there'd be enough fighting that the Weaver's Wall was going to be too unreliable and thus would get in range.
Oh. Just going to go right over to the side of Tucson. Doesn't quite connect.
They still have a lot of good options in the mid game if they can get this Caitlyn through laning phase and crucially take the bot lane turret. Caitlyn in the mid lane and Nunu just being there to assist invades and objective secures will be very, very powerful. Galio's happy in a side lane as well. So playing with the Heroic Entrance and the pathing of Spirit is what can happen. One of the reasons, you know, people will wonder, why so much mid lane Galio? We just had MSI where top lane Galio was by far the most popular use of that champion. And the main reason, honestly, is that if you have a pressure advantage or an invading jungler,
Oh, well, not this time.
if you have that, I mean, Galio mid's basically Twisted Fate. You win every 2v1 or 3v1 at enemy objectives. You can steal red buffs and blue buffs so freely because Galio will always rotate first in the mid lane even faster than Destiny, where you have to pop it and also choose a position.
Yeah.
So the snowball potential, even with the late game fall off, is so big that you basically rule the mid game if you win the early game.
Totoro started off really good with the hooks. He's missed like the last 4 or 5 at this point.
Are you one of those guys who really rates their Blitzcrank only on the last hook? You're only as good as your last hook?
No, I said he just missed the last 4 or 5.
I know. You're discounting all the ones he hit. Very negative framing there.
He said he started off well, but that's going to be the ultimate coming through here from the Nunu. Kick away as Bless just tries to create some distance between himself and the rest of the Afreeca Freecs, but he still goes down as Kramer picks up his first kill.
Nice to get one back on the board. Bless caught without flash, who just went down. Drake has started. I believe Nunu still has no points in his consume. Level 8 usually the only time when you can pick that up.
Girl trying to Justice Punch forward to get in on the Tempt, and now
It's
maybe
teleports.
Spirited Girl in a bit of a bad spot. His Eye Ultimate coming through as Ghost just starts firing away. It's come down, pulls the blades back through, and now Crazy arriving on the backside of the fight with the TP. Can't stop the Mountain Drake from going over, but they still might be able to find some kills. Kuro just punching forward. That's going to be the equalizer thrown down from Marin, but they're dangerously low. Kramer going to fall, and the rest of the team could just be cleaned up here. Ghost just firing away, doesn't need any mana to come up with the kill. Threaded volley from Tempt helps finish it off, and that's going to be the triple kill going over to the Talia. And BBQ Olivers maybe be able to open up the map with that first brick in mid.
It took so long to take down the Drake, and with such low health bars, Tucson DPS out at the start had to just run away. But they were just food for the slaughter. Flashes available, but not really going to get them out of dodge. They're going to invest a teleport just to get back to mid lane. Totoro doesn't have mana for a hook or anything like that, but Afreeca give up so much just for a Mountain Drake. And they were just judging everything so well in Game 1, and so quickly the memories of Game 1 do fade. We're going to see the replay here. Lee Sin is dead, so this was always going to be, at best, a 4v5 contest. But Olaf takes free damage. Kuro had taken free damage at the start. Watch Kramer, who needs to be the person here to make the difference. He has no front line to fight around, and no one's going in with Kuro. The equalizer in that large open space isn't going to do much. Ghost gets the double snare on his E, and from there, target acquisition is simple for the side of BBQ, as, like you say, Tempt cleans up.
Yeah. Well, certainly a devastating play there. Started off pretty decently from the side of Afreeca, but a nice flank from Crazy allows him to get in there and help rip through the members of Afreeca Freecs. You can see 0-0-4 on that Jace.
Kuro is built purely for dealing with that Talia, going into
Adaptive Helm,
yeah, rushing the Adaptive Helm. Does very well against the threaded volley in particular.
Tempt starting things off with the Rylai's.
There's a snowball item. This is not bad. Usually it's a snowball Barillamicon or going into something like the Leandries, but acquiring one target usually means the hook is more reliable, usually means the snare is more reliable from Xayah. So just wants to get a bit more CC, more reliable CC on basically all items and all abilities in order to get those picks, which certainly can be manufactured pretty easily with the lead that BBQ have.
Well, holding on to this mid-tier one. It's not going to happen, so first brick does go over to the side of BBQ. Kuro going forward, looking for the taunt. Won't be able to find it in Tucson. He's going to go ahead and throw down the absolute zero onto Tempt as they slow him up. Rogue entrance coming through. Doesn't quite get the finish off, but allows for that shield to come through onto the Olaf. Bless jumping over the wall. Resonating strike onto the red buff, takes him out to safety. We'll lose this buff, they lose Tempt, but they're losing a lot more pressure in the top side of the map.
Lose the top turret almost certainly. Next minion wave will be the time. They're only really meandering. You see the pings onto bot lane. It's not going to be a full team rotating bot lane. Crazy is forced to back away, so they don't quite lose the turret unless the minions are able to take it down. Afreeca stood on the pick. Tucson having the absolute zero, largely for CC, but even an initial burst allowed them to get that first kill. Things are certainly not looking rosy for the Afreeca Freecs yet, but it's a start.
Yeah, Bless is just going to be soloing out this Rift Herald the entire time.
But then we don't get to see the Blood Boil interaction.
I know, I'm quite upset. So hopefully somebody roams over there, but it just doesn't seem very likely.
Nope.
So he'll be able to take this one out. The rest of the squad going back to the base. Spend some gold. So Rift Herald over to BBQ, can use that to open up the map even further.
Still going to be not the easiest to Rift Herald the mid lane. Kuro has flash available, hasn't had to use it the last few times. And will we see a big investment like Scepter did, where he flash taunted the Rift Herald being used in vision just to interrupt the channel? We're still unsure whether that's the right move. Rift Herald is very powerful, one turret is very powerful, but Kuro having his flash down, it's the threat of the Galio so much lower.
Well, for now, very rough spot for the Afreeca Freecs. They have a Mountain Drake, but haven't been able to get much use out of it. Infernal on the way in a minute and a half, so that could help turn their luck around.
And they do have a Nunu getting closer and closer to max rank in Blood Boil, and that kind of means that the item efficiency for Kramer goes up because he's getting so much free attack speed and movement speed. If he went straight Infinity Edge, he's basically getting kind of a free Phantom Dancer short of a bit of Critical Strike. With the max rank in that ability, but kind of straddled the line, getting as much power as possible with his item choices. Might be Static Shiv this time from the Caitlyn. Wait to
See
see
which
what
way
he
he
decides.
wants to go. I'd expect that it's probably going to be the rapid-fire cannon.
Yeah, it's definitely an option as well.
Totoro going to go ahead and completes that recall. Spot that he's not in that brush, so
Just
go
wants to
ahead
keep,
and pushing forward.
wants to keep the turret up as long as possible, so we'll have to take a lot of free damage and harass to do it. See which turret goes down first between top lane and bot lane. Only turret falling so far has been Kuro's.
Which is fine, he's still very tanky. So can stick around, doesn't have to worry too much about being overextended.
Xayah doesn't want to draw Caitlyn to mid lanes. The problem there is that Blitzcrank has been largely forced to be in the bot lane. Only now has he been unleashed on the map. So haven't seen the Blitz taking over games like he can often if this AD carry is rotating first. Xayah still at least one item and largely two away from max effectiveness.
So trying to get in here, knock down that turret, only gets a couple shots off. The minions do a little bit more work for him, but still a little ways away from taking that objective out. In the meantime, vision control starting to be fought over around this Infernal Drake that has spawned.
Has to be Rift Herald soon. Let's can't hold on to it for too much longer. Buff duration will be starting to run low. Using it bot lane feels really bad. He's going to anyway, but it's already super, super low. Meanwhile,
it's going to be the rest of the team coming in. TP on
this
the
equalizer
backside
could be
from
big.
Marin. See where he's going to place it. Heroic entrance coming down from Kuro. Not going to find anybody for the knockup. Those throws out
Double,
that feather
triple
storm.
taunt.
Just trying to get the draw back in. Locks him down. Marin has to flash away. The members of Afreeca Freecs yet again have to retreat. Spirit going to get taken out. Now the Weaver's Wall in here from Tempt. Marin, just a couple of hits from Dead. He'll be finished off by Tempt with the E yet again. The Rift Herald still pushing in, still whittling away where it can, and Kuro is trying to draw the attention of the members of BBQ. Won't be able to do so, will get taken out. The rest of the squad's going to have to head for the hills. Rift Herald going to get one more little charge through, get some damage down onto this tier 2 before getting finished off.
a lot of action coming there. The Absolute Zero into the Equalizer. Equalizer not doing just enough work. Didn't have Liandry's Torment, still doesn't in the infantry there, Marin, so was only tickling the forces of BBQ. Kramer unharassed for the majority of the fight, but not able to clean up. Only a rapid-fire cannon to his name. Infernal Drake, the first very few we've had today, is claimed. You're going to see the replay. Afreeca Freecs thought this was their moment. Not getting a lot of value out of the heroic entrance, admittedly, but
too shallow.
Marin not having Liandry's. The triple taunt that I mentioned was massive, but no one is able to profit of it. And that means a hook lands and BBQ, they can just follow onward looking for more.
I mean, it's like Afreeca, they have the pieces of the puzzle, but they're putting them together in the wrong order. They're putting them in the wrong spaces. You have that massive taunt with the Equalizer ticking below them, with the Absolute Zero on top of it. That's when they have that wombo combo and they absolutely destroy BBQ. But for the time being, it's just going to be about a 4,000 gold lead for the Olivers. Looking for a bit more as that top lane turret is ready to go down.
Marin has rushed the Zonias. This is his tool against the Blitzcrank hook, where he can still live and reposition theoretically after the stasis if the rest of his team engages. Means he still doesn't have Liandry's. Would love to have a bit more oomph in those ultimates, but credit to Marin. He's kept his turret alive for this long, despite being against Jace. And actually has a CS lead against the Jace. Jace being 2-0 and 5. He'll largely be able to shrug away the CS disadvantage. But the reason why you don't write off the Afreeca Freecs, sure, they're down 5,000 gold, but they didn't pick Nunu to dominate lane. They will have access to basically 7-item Caitlyn at some point in the game.
Not quite going to connect. A couple more hits onto this turret. Should finish it off as Totoro pushing forward, looking for that punch, but instead just receive a kick. Resonating Strike comes through, and Bless will go ahead and scoop up that kill onto Caitlyn. Kramer going down, and now BBQ having a nice forward position onto this turret in the top side, maybe looking for the first hitter of the game.
The double control was 4 on the top side by BBQ. So much vision control around this area meant that there was no reason Kramer should be so far up the lane when they had no control on their red side jungle, just waiting for Weaver's Wall. Here it is.
Go ahead and toss this one out. Everybody's going to be locked away from the turret. Is that enough for them to finish it off? The Equalizer thrown down by Marin, trying to buy them some time, but he gets hooked over the wall. Zonias is available. Casts it now. Heroic entrance coming through from Kuro. Just as punch forward. Not going to find anything, nor will the taunt. Turret's still dangerously low, and the members of Afreeca Freecs are yet again getting chunked down.
May delay this turret being taken. Last parting shot from the rapid-fire cannon of Ghost as Caitlyn respawns. Still, big success from BBQ. They got what they were looking for, and Afreeca still have no real objectives to their name. Big lead by BBQ. And it's moments like that where Caitlyn was chased down that you see why you don't see a lot of support Nunu, because he's no Tom Kench. He's no damage threat either. All he really is accessing the fabled 7th item slot, giving the 5 points and I guess even potentially the visionary bonus on the Blood Boil to the Caitlyn. But apart from that, a bit of zone control. If you're winning, you're an extra person that people can't afford to face check. But if you're losing, you really provide nothing.
See that wave clear there from Ghost. Making sure that that tier 1 turret at the top side of the map is still safe. Afreeca have yet to pick one up. So plenty of standing gold if they could actually utilize this Mountain Drake that they caught for themselves.
The if there is the operative word. It's a big if. Not much known about Afreeca Freecs as they do their standard perfect game into highly imperfect game.
Yeah, it's like, wow, these guys are turning around their performance. Maybe they'll finish off the playoffs.
Did we ever say that?
Well, you know.
Have you noticed they got a perfect game? Do we ever talk about a turnaround in performance? You never make final judgments or holistic statements about Afreeca Freecs because you know better. You know better than to expect them to be able to back up the performance, because it's been the one thing, that consistency. Maybe it'll never be something they're able to achieve.
Yep. That's why you never say you're excited for KT. That's why you don't get excited or antsy and post your glad planes after one game win from Janair.
I mean, if you want surefire bets, be an SKT fan.
Yep, pretty much.
Kramer's getting there. He needs an Infinity Edge. Really, really badly. He just bought the Zeal and the second dagger here to, again, get a bit more power. This one will probably have to be a Phantom Dancer, even though we're on 710 and the headshot interaction is still at full power. Guess he could go the way of the Hurricane, but you would think that he would be stacking flat AD and getting free attack speed and movement speed from the Nunu rather than prioritizing the double Zeal item. So many champions on the side of Afreeca. Looks so good from ahead, but behind Olaf, Galio, Nunu.
You know, every time Spirit plays Olaf, I just die a little bit more.
I mean, it was his lucky pick in spring season, but
I mean, you say his lucky pick, I call it his one trick.
I mean, at least he had the trick, right? You know, you need to have something.
It's true. Well, TP's going to come through, so Martin going to attempt something with the rest of the squad. Not really collapsing in with
He's getting
him.
free damage off of that, at least. Nice equalizer.
The red carpet thrown down, plus going to go low. Ace of the hole comes through, but so does the redemption.
Thrown out.
Not going to connect.
Gonna miss. J spot lane. They were hoping to at least draw Crazy's teleport, but don't even get that.
Yeah, he's not even biting. So, another disadvantage here for the Afreeca Freecs.
And
Crow
Ghost
does have a TP of his own.
But
So
Ghost is also super far up and just fishing for his next two items, Berserker Greaves and Infinity Edge, to start getting crazy with the damage output on the Xayah. This is the sort of game where Xayah will do a lot of damage. You know, we had the Xayah game yesterday from Prey, and people are like, I don't know about Xayah in competitive play. But guess what? If everyone's diving at you, Xayah's going to do plenty of damage in a team fight, and that's what Afreeca can do. They can dive.
I mean, Ghost has already been really effective, especially with the Blade Caller. Just getting those roots locked down.
And the CC part is kind of the early effectiveness while you're building up your Essence Reaver into Phantom Dancer, or in this case, Rapid Fire Cannon, and then Infinity Edge. But it's just pure damage in the late game. Pass-through damage that can crit. Very, very powerful. So we know Xayah will get there, and this is the sort of game where Xayah is set up to succeed. So
yeah.
Just waiting on that third item and the inevitable Olaf and heroic entrance initiation.
Blue buff handed over to Crazy. BBQ grouping up in the mid lane.
And it is Hurricane from Kramer. So now it's Afreeca basically waving the white flag until Infinity Edge is complete. Cheaper than before, but still over 1,000 gold and then some to be completed.
Yeah, he's got quite the distance to go.
And then perhaps the fact that there's so much other damage on the side of BBQ, it might be irrelevant. 3-item Caitlyn just 6,000, potentially 8,000 gold behind by then, won't be able to take down the members of BBQ. It is Jace front line and Elysian that's built magic resist, so 3-item Caitlyn with Blood Bowl, it's certainly going to hurt from the side of Afreeca.
They need the opening. And right now, it just seems like you mash the damage of BBQ and Afreeca's together, and BBQ just keep coming out on top. The Wombo has not been there. Crazy going to get jumped on, but switches in the hammer form, and he can just run his way out.
And a lot of damage coming out from Kramer, as you would have noticed in that scenario. Oh, the mind game hooks happening between Totoro and Spirit. Finally get the inner turret, that sights were set on about 5 minutes ago. So credit to Afreeca, at least they've been delaying in the last 5 or so.
They haven't been staving off that gold lead, though, for BBQ. 7,000 up now.
It's not exploding either, so...
It's a steady growth, but not a massive one. But now Crazy going to get wrapped around on yet again.
They really should leave the kill for Kramer here.
Yeah, but no, Marin says, I'm the young. Give it.
I don't think a Void Staff's going to change this game. The Infinity Edge might. That is really what Afreeca Freecs need.
Even then, I think Marin might be going for that Banshee's Veil there. Hook not going to connect.
I think Zonia's Zonia's and Banshee Veil's perhaps too far in terms of defensive on the side of Rumble. I don't mind 6th item coming through with the Banshee Veil, but...
I mean, he could be holding the null magic for that as a 6th
That's
item.
true.
For sure. So.
And it's only double Hex Drinker on the side of BBQ, but Staff always such a core of Rumble builds, usually against tanks in mid elite, but going to be necessary.
Setup here. Spirit going to check with the Undertow, however, does spot them all out in the brush. And Marin has finally been able to put a turret on the board for the Afreeca Freecs.
There you go. The standing gold dream has been inched towards.
Hell yeah, we did it.
They see Rumble back away, and they instantly
the ward expires in the river. But they have an idea. This could be going on, so they will go ahead and rotate over. Hook comes through, flash away from Kuro.
He kind of was caught between two identities. He actually started piling on the taunt just in case.
Slowing himself down.
He's like, if I flash too late, at least I'll taunt them.
Yeah.
Remember me!
Witness me. As he just rides in covered.
Remember me and witness me are actually quite different emotions.
That was a good movie.
Kilios, this is the best time that Afreeca can make a stand. Gold lead is only 5,000. Infinity Edge just now completed. Damage fall off from the Olaf, Rumble, and Galio has not started. This is their Alamo. Sounds like a weird thing to say given that potentially the, again, inverted commas, 7-item Caitlyn is coming soon, but this is really the time where I feel like everything lines up for Afreeca.
Shock Blast just shy of clipping onto Kramer. Ocean Drake just going to be leashed over for BBQ to pick up a second stack. They really do want to contest this. Down to 1,000. No smite in the area, but the Shock Blast, the Excel Gate does take it out.
Again, not an objective to dwell on too much. The real fight will be on the top side. Neither of the smites wanted to be anywhere near the Drake. Didn't want to use that in that particular regard. So the battle now is around vision in the Baron area. Blitzcrank wants unique vision control to threaten the hook, and can be very oppressive when a team feels strong enough to push their vision line up aggressively on the red side as a blue side Blitzcrank team, because then suddenly putting down wards in the Baron pit with anything other than a blue trinket very often will lead to your instant death. Kramer's playing with fire. Yeah,
he was very dangerously close that time around.
Here's that vision pushing up like we mentioned.
Let's see, the Ice Blast not going to do anything. Totoro yet again cheating forward, throws out the hook. Back just a bit too fast here from the side of Afreeca Freecs, and I mean, they're just giving themselves these minute little windows, these 10-12 second windows that they have where the hook is down. They can try to cheat forward and go for vision control.
And of course you have to mention that because we've seen, what, 4 different teams play Blitzcrank, you know that scrims are seeing more and more Blitzcrank, so players getting more practice at playing against Blitzcrank, which is a phenomenon you often see when Eve is in the meta. People have no idea how to play against Eve, and they're like, wait, I need to ward jungle calves, that's what I need to do. And things usually change. So, in general, from a couple of rare exceptions, they've been pretty respectful of Totoro so far.
Lauren actually drew some pressure down by threatening to steal away the red buff, so this gives an opening for Afreeca to actually shove up the river and clear out some of this vision. Control wards do come down for them to take control over the pit, at least for the moment. 5,000 gold, so they were able to shrink it by 2,000. And a lot of help coming through Marin, getting rid of that first turret to the side of Afreeca Freecs.
Trinket without really trading anything. It's been trading up in general for Afreeca. The only objective I remember going down recently against them was the top inner turret about 6-7 minutes ago when they got a kill and started to pressure bot lane recently.
Oh, Marin in a bad spot. Weaver's Wall coming down. Celestis flashes away. Himself alive, drops out the red carpet. He goes low, pops at the last second redemption, coming through, but it's just not in time. He will die, and Temp picks up the kill.
And he wasn't sure whether to use Zonias because it could be a Baron battle where he now will not have Zonias up for 2 minutes. Respawn coming in 45. Spirit's going in.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead, dash forward with that righteous core, trying to get on top of Crazy, but the rest of the team, he knows that they're going to be collapsing. And there wasn't enough time left on the Ragnarok. So has to peel back in the meantime. It's going to be the push going through in onto the mid lane. Taunt comes down onto Bless. Girl get kicked away, goes in, gets that Justice punch in on the Bless. Redemption comes down, pops him back up to about half HP, and now Temp rotating back through, which is here to continue to apply pressure in onto this tier 2 turret. Hook not going to connect. They find it yet again. 5-1 in turrets. Old lead yet again growing in favor of BBQ.
Up to the 7,000 number now. Dora really needs to create space for Kramer in these fights. With one man down, it was only going to be for the first rotation of the taunt, and Crazy still needs to take out the bot lane turret. BBQ still in a really good spot of closing this game, but the air of inevitability, especially given that BBQ have only picked up a single game win this season, is not there yet.
Baiting out inside the pit.
Totoro already used his ult, doesn't want to leash the Baron.
Trying to convince them to push forward here.
Do have the Olaf, who can be a little bit more optimistic with his warding.
Yeah. Lauren trying to get that split going down to the bottom side. Kramer gets a couple of hits in onto the turret, but that's about it. And they're going to have to just start kiting back up the mid lane.
It was war available. Mine's here too.
Does have the equalizer, but the Zonia's still going to be down. Crazy getting slowed up. They pinch in onto him. The flash is still available. We'll go ahead and just use that out. Weaver's Wall now down.
It's a really big cooldown to get the Weaver's Wall in this scenario.
Bro able to just sponge his way away from that Blitzcrank hook and Afreeca Freecs. A couple of those tools being burned away by BBQ.
But it's only an ARAM.
Posture forward.
It's only an ARAM right now. After those hooks are down, the clear wall's down. They're just going to reset Afreeca by some bit of breathing room, but nothing more. They finally get to get a ward near the Baron pit, but will be cleared very shortly. Still exclusive vision for BBQ around the Baron area. Only a control ward in the back of the pits, giving information to Afreeca that's not being started. And can Kramer get to the spot that Sven so often was for G2 at MSI? He's still got the Nunu, this time from the support role. There still is the 6-item Caitlyn and Blood Boil coming at some point, but the damage fall off from the rest of his team. The damage graph for team fights post 40 minutes is going to be 90% Caitlyn and everyone else just putting in the barest of assists.
Now, Marin will be up there decently, but
sure. A little bit.
The rest of the squad for sure is going to be very lacking. Red buff gets snatched up and smote away, I believe.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Yeah, Ghost got it, all right.
It's hard to tell because of the Dead Man's Plate on the Olaf, but you're right. It was the AD carry chance pick up there.
Quite find it. Ooh, Curl just getting out of there barely with the recall.
Piling on the attack damage, looking like Bloodthirster as next item, but could just be the Mikuro Scimitar and Guardian Angel. Hard to tell. I think Bloodthirst is better in this case. If you get hooked through this many tanks, you deserve to lose if you're Afreeca Freecs, and having the extra overshield when trading with people like Xayah and Talia, Jace as well, could be very important.
Well, that's going to be Baron started up here. Normal Drake giving them that added percentage. Trying to take this out, and the Weaver's Wall comes down. Can they make it in time? Is going to be the question. It looks like it's going to be no. Let's get taken down. Baron over to BBQ. And Afreeca Freecs just stumbling at every turn. We'll be pushing forward, looking for this tier 1 turret in mid, but the pinch is getting ready to come through from the side of BBQ. They have not recalled, and they cannot finish off this turret.
Marin stays top lane. The most they're going to get is a single turret. They thought it was going to be mid. May only be a top lane turret, punches it down.
Sonic Wave doesn't connect, and now they have to be careful because they're just kind of herding BBQ over towards this Elder Dragon that they're going to start up.
Marin stays in top lane, stops his recall, won't teleport in. There's the hook.
Hook comes in onto Spirit, pops a Ragnarok, and he's just getting chunked out, will be burned down actually as Ghost finds the kill. Kuro having to Justice punch his way out to safety, and Kramer cut off from the rest of his team. Absolute Zero comes down, Bless going low, and that's going to be that redemption coming through, trying to pop them back up. Marin finds one in onto the Lee Sin, but then gets rooted up. So far, a 1 for 2, and BBQ, with the Baron buff still on multiple members, will just be turning right back over into this Elder Dragon.
Turn onto the Elder Dragon, like you say. Doesn't seem like Nunu and Kate are going to actually face check and get in there. So Elder Dragon and the Baron buff stacked up from the team of Afreeca Freecs.
They're going to push forward, try to finish off this turret. Tier 2 in top, also in danger of going down, does fall. So 4 to 6, Afreeca are able to pick up some objectives very much by help of the Winions, but still the gold deficit remains the same.
But picking up those turrets at least stops it from being a blowout. It's not 10,000 gold at this spot, but it probably doesn't need to be. We are now in the part of the game where death cap or no, Marin won't have the same effect. Once you get to about 40 minutes and redemption levels on all the champions will often answer equalizer damage. Kramer is strong. He went the 4-item route. He realized that, hey, you don't need a Guardian Angel this game, maybe as a 6th item. But you have such a strong tank line and 4 people that you don't want to hook on the side of BBQ that needs to free hit, needs to do the most amount of damage possible, and doesn't really need a lot of armor penetration because not so much armor on the side of BBQ.
And a severe lack of MR here for Spirit. Let's have that Negatron Cloak now will complete the Gargoyle Stone Plate, but let's see just how much damage Temp was able to do to him at the start of that fight, just completely denying him any access towards that Dragon Pit. Now BBQ, they're in buff, still on top, they're out the Weaver's Wall. They'll just cut off the members of Afreeca. They'll take down this first inhibitor with relative ease.
Be so decisive against the Weaver's Wall, because you get in those positions where you can't contest when you were considering whether to. Chose not to walk up, so lose 1 inhibitor for free. Where will be their last Alamo? It has to be soon.
They're going to have to try to fight this out sooner or later. Spirit, with no Ghost, just makes it that much harder for him to get in. And look at Marin getting ripped apart of the sideline. Second hit goes down. BBQ, do they want to stick around? The answer is going to be no, but they can just rotate right over to the top side of the map and try to take down all 3 inhibs away from Afreeca Freecs in one fell swoop.
Yeah, Afreeca not willing to initiate on the second turret. That was probably the one you needed to, given that the first was stopped by the Weaver's Wall. So many buffs stacked up. You understand why they're dissuaded, but has to come eventually.
Hook not going to connect. Marin going to go ahead, throws down the equalizer, but it's not going to get much for it. Anyway, will get cleared out, and Kuro now chunked down. We'll have to kite back towards that fountain, try to heal up, maybe get prepped for a hero's entrance. As it's all on the back of Kramer right now to clear out these waves to deny this turret, but there's just really nothing that he can do.
Diamond Shove!
Diamond Shove does come through. Here's entrance, throw down onto Kramer. He'll get the shield to Duran. Ghost goes low. Redemption coming through from the side of BBQ as they try to get popped back up. Bit of a scuffle on both sides as Afreeca retreats back inside of the base. Seismic Shove not connecting onto Marin. Stays safe for the moment and still has the flash. Will be cutting around the other side of the wall.
And the flash of Zaya and Jace was pretty big in that scenario. Marin will have equalizer about 40 seconds. He might actually just be collapsed on, although crazy slowed down.
They're in a really rough spot. Weaver's Wall coming through. Marin gonna have to try to make his
Meanwhile,
way out of here. Yeah, meanwhile, on the other side, it's gonna be Totoro getting cut off, picked off. As Spirit finds the kill, and now the rest of Afreeca Freecs piling in, looking for Crazy, trying to get rid of that Guardian Angel. They'll be able to do so. Flash forward from Kramer. He gets the kill, takes out Tempt. Could this be the turnaround? Crazy goes down right off the bat, but look at the base. The Super Creeps pushing through from the mid and bottom lanes of Afreeca Freecs with these kills coming through still. We'll have so much trouble trying to capitalize.
You're not going to lose a single Nexus tower. They will be able to clear out the minions, but you feel so good as Afreeca finally getting the kills you set up for, but no extra bonus objectives to take off at minion waves in horrible spots. Understandable with how the game has gone so far. Winning a team fight at that point when you've already lost 2 inhibitors feels like it's only going to delay the game, but there is that glimmer of hope for the Afreeca Freecs. Well, watch the replay. We were focused on the mid lane action as Rumble was right on the corner and edge of going down. And hey, Kramer does sick damage at this point in the game. He is 6th item if you're including the Blood Boil. Love the flash onto Tempt, understanding that, hey, 2 crits in a row would do it. Took 3 auto attacks, but still picked up those kills. Can't really reset much here. There's not really much you can claim against the tide. The tide is still threatening to sink Afreeca Freecs, but they're swimming as much as they can.
Trying to stay afloat. A double inhibitor tank from the side of BBQ is what stopped that from being, a complete turnaround in favor of Afreeca, if not just the game-winning push.
We alluded to it. It's here, Achilles. 41 minutes in, 7-item Kramer. The moment that the blood boil goes down on him, he is monstrously strong at this point. 309 AD, no Infernal Drakes. That went the way of BBQ. Still behind in gold, amusingly, to his opposite number in Xayah, but that's what happens when it's 9 turrets to 4, and things like Baron buff and Elder Dragon have gone against you.
Speaking of Baron, it's going to be respawning now in about 40 seconds. So we saw the Weaver's Wall, how crucial that was for Tempt and the rest of the BBQ squad to be able to pick up that objective. So you can have a similar setup for it this time around.
One thing you can say about Spirit at this point in the game is at his health total, over 3,000, when he runs in, he will almost certainly be able to get full value out of the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He still has Ragnarok. He doesn't have Ghost, but he does have, of course, the Righteous Glory. And if he runs at Xayah doesn't really have any tools. She kind of has to run, and only really the pass-through damage is going to hit others. So let's assume he can buy 5-6 seconds of wasting Xayah's time. That's actually team fight job done by Spirit. And if on the other side, Kramer is free hitting, there's no one on the side of BBQ that can deal with that Caitlyn. Now, with this many objectives down, with this little map control, maybe that doesn't matter. But that's why I still say glimmer of hope for Afreeca Freecs.
Bot wave moving up. See Marin going to have to go up and try to clear out that top lane.
He's got a lot of different work to do.
Oh, Susan, he's going to get jumped on. The blast cone takes him over to the other side of the wall. Now actually has the flash. Ulton comes through on the Blessed Totoro from Kuro. TP will be used here from Marin. Use that, and the base is still going to be under threat.
Yeah, it does mean that only one super minion wave is coming in.
Somebody's got to go back.
Either that or they fight instantly. They cannot dilly-dally. They need to go in aggressively.
The Nexus just respawned. Baron engaged. Hook over the wall. They find Kuro. Not necessarily the target they want. He gets one with that taunt there from the side of the Galio. Redemption will be coming down. Pop them back up. They'll be receiving that heal. Afreeca, they're playing with fire right now. Need to stop the Baron, but also need to stop the base from going down. That Nexus, or that inhibitor rather, will be taken out.
They'll lose it again, but the delay is what BBQ are looking for. Buy time for the Winions, as they're called, to do the dirty work. Stuck between options. Kuro has teleport, so he'll be the one to recall, but his wave clear is not fantastic, and Baron's already started again.
Yep, and Marin going to be without that equalizer. TP starting to be channeled here from Kuro. He does complete this one. And this could just be the delay game from BBQ to let the Winions do the work. Baron now going low. They're in there. They're going to be able to finish this one up, but can they capitalize? Can they make it back to the base before the Nexus falls? They have those empowered recalls, but the super minions are getting ready to go through. No stops on the backs from the side of BBQ.
I don't really understand why Jace wasn't fishing for an accelerated shock blast. Would have got at least some interrupts. Could have got 4, as we saw on the screen.
They're all piled up.
Too much respect, I would say, from BBQ, but didn't see exactly the positioning on Jace. Just knew he was recalling. Afreeca Freecs, it's not much of a lifeline. They do have one inhibitor down. They will be able to push out bot lane, but BBQ at least showed that, hey, we don't need to fight. The minions will largely do the work. It's why they pulled over so many times. Now, did they need to pull over that much to give up the Baron? Perhaps not. But regardless, BBQ still have control of this game.
It's 2 naked inhibs at the moment, and Afreeca can't really do anything to try to capitalize on this this Baron buff that they've guarded for themselves. They're just trying to cut them off and push up towards the Nexus, but seems like a bit of an odd decision there. We'll be looking
nice
for that
equalizer!
Inhibitor. That's going to be the equalizer coming down. Spirit sprinting forward, pops the gargoyles. They're looking for the kill. Totoro going to be the first one to fall. Kramer claims the kill. Can they get more? Crazy. Kiting away, has that Guardian Angel back up, and Kuro playing into the front lines.
No flash on Kuro, so the disengage still very good on the side of BBQ. Ghost used by Thames. They have the acceleration gate. It's only a single kill, but now you really start to wonder.
They get one. They just need to buy enough time for that inhibitor to come back up to alleviate the pressure. At the same time, a minute out is that second Elder Dragon spawning.
So what do BBQ need to do? Because we see this often in games,
I need to ask
right?
you this question.
And that's the reason why I bring it up. It's a fair question to ask in this regard. They don't have a 5v5 comp. You do not set up for that. Picks, sure. split push, sure. Getting their minion waves in order is the biggest one. You see Ghost considering walking up, but he realizes that with the spawn in 38 seconds, sure, he could kill the minion wave and get there in 38 seconds, but he'll be there late. He won't be grouped with his team, and he may be denied from coming in.
Yeah, crazy STP.
So Crazy will go there. He'll answer the minion wave. Pushing minion waves and getting minions in order is so important for BBQ because they've gotten most of their leads in the late game from those minions pushing. If they don't get their minion waves in order, one team fight loss, and the game may end.
Yep. Vision control around the backside of the pit starting to come through for Afreeca, as well as the trap line laid down onto the ramp. Go ahead. That mid lane pushing against BBQ's base, and Marin is cleaning up the super creeps in the bottom side of the map.
They're keeping time as they'll know that Marin doesn't have teleport for about 20 seconds, maybe 15, as we can see.
Still in the vicinity, though, but will be within vision. Elder Dragon gets started up as they pull it out. No vision inside the pit. Control ward there, denying quite a bit of it.
Oh boy.
Dragon down to half. That's going to be the TP into the base. They see this coming through. They're going to have to surrender this one. The Weaver's Wall there to cut him off as Crazy starts sprinting in for the Nexus, but Marin says hello. Matches him on the recall, throws down that equalizer as they try to cut him off, but I don't know if they can get there in time. At the same time, Elder Dragon does come through.
Spirit
in. Will slow him up. Hero's entrance are committing a lot just to finish off this chase. GA popped. He will go down as Kramer finds the kill yet again, but Afreeca Freecs, can they push into the face of a BBQ that has a double stack Elder Dragon?
And can they do that 4v5? I think the answer is no. I always wonder about the value of Baron and Elder Dragon post 45 minutes. 2-stack Elder Dragon is not a 5-stack like it could be. So being a member down means that, hey, even with these buffs, you're probably going to be zoned from doing enough damage. And Afreeca knows that, and they're pushing to the front door.
Yep, Marin yet again getting that bottom side moving. They go ahead, they get rid of that inner turret in the mid side. As the Afreeca Freecs keep pushing forward, but they're playing a dangerous game. The wave clear from Tempt is still very formidable. Getting over onto the inhibitors is going to be a bit of a challenge.
Teleport ward is still in the base, but will time out by the time the next teleport is available. BBQ only have the single, and Crazy, of course, so far away from having that done.
Should be rather soon. Let me see that inhibitor come back up here for Afreeca Freecs, alleviating that much more pressure.
Managing sideways is something Marin has always been excellent at. His TP game hasn't been SKT Marin-esque, but has still been largely good. That's why he backs away. He knows the minion has enough time. Anyway, it has enough time in bot lane to not be a factor, and they need to group. You can only split push and hold waves for long because eventually you start surrendering vision. And speaking of vision, it's going to be at a premium given these item slots are open and full in general in every champion's case.
Just fighting for it here in this top side of the jungle.
Kind of insane that we have this high drama. We thought BBQ would be able to see their way through. Had 2 inhibitors down at one point, but got sucked into team fights they didn't need to take.
Now looking for those inhibs yet again. Bottom lane has respawned. And the wave's in a nice spot for Afreeca Freecs, pushing against BBQ back towards their base, towards that final inner turret. See the pings coming through, they identify this. They'll be peeling back, trying to push that up.
Almost timed out. You'll see that item bar in the Lee Sin is about 10 seconds away at maximum. Marin's all alone.
No real threat of a pinch, however. Still has the flash, still has the Zonius, so relatively safe. Still a dangerous game for either side. We're at that point, the gold does not matter.
We don't know if he's a secret agent or a double agent, Achilles, but somehow Tucson has not died this game, 009. Could be either way, depends how this game goes. Locking in the Nunu, going 009, game ending will be the double agent.
Okay, what takeaways they can here. BBQ as they get rid of that red buff for themselves, and we're now less than a minute away from that Baron spawning yet again. Nobody has been able to push far enough forward to get a ward inside of the base of Afreeca Freecs. Crazy is still a ways away from that TP, so the threat of the back door, or even just cleaning up a couple inhibitors, is very slim, but it could just come down to this potential final fight at the Baron in 35 seconds.
Yeah, thinking in a ward is almost impossible. Control ward down on the top side, ward down on the bot side, and all 3 inhibitors alive means that at this point, not realistic to backdoor, and like you say, different threat. It's only going to be cleaning up inhibitors rather than necessarily ending the game, barring a real head-scratcher moment from the Afreeca Freecs.
Skullcrab to be picked up here by BBQ, so they have that guaranteed vision from the pit. And we are getting close to the longest game of summer so far. 55 minutes from yesterday was... This is the standard at the moment.
Close to the longest and definitely the late game, that fabled time where one team fight will decide everything, and the more team fight tools available for the Afreeca Freecs. Even the damage drop-off we talked of, Jason late game team fights, questionable value. Blitzcrank also, not many good hook targets. Kalia does a lot of damage to front lines, but the front lines are now super beefy on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. But this is the terrain you want to play around, BBQ. Avoid those crevices, avoid the rumble terrain, and play in the open.
Dangerous dance from both sides.
Somehow Tucson has got 17 levels of experience. It's actually pretty hard to do on the losing team.
A bit impressive, but it's going to be a TP straight inside the pit.
Are we flashing over here,
Coming
Spirit?
through from Kuro. Baron down to about half HP. Kuro, can he get a massive taunt? Find anything yet with the first one. Thought maybe he would flash in for it, but instead is just leashing this Baron, keeping it in combat. Massive 1,000 crit comes through from Kramer as it's down below 4,000.
Equalizer
comes through. That's going to be Baron over to Afreeca Freecs, but can they capitalize? Kuro getting knocked in by the seismic shove, goes low, but the redemption will come down, pops him up just a little bit. Do they want to exit, or do they want to fight with this Baron buff? Looks like it's going to be the former.
Neither team has massive vision around the red side. BBQ aren't confident enough to try and cut straight through and take a free inhibitor, so it's a free Baron in the end for the Afreeca Freecs. BBQ, if they had more wards, again, very difficult to pull off given the small inventory slots, but more wards, they could have cut through, and minion wave very clumped in top, and specifically in bot lane, means that Afreeca have everything. They have the Baron buff minions pushing in. They also have the sixth man doing work in bot lane, and now they can shove mid and try to finally break the base at 53 minutes.
Yeah, Lauren having that TP available. Should see him shoot off down towards that bottom side of the map so he can split effectively with his team. Likely going to be the 4-1. As Kramer needs everybody that he can get to just keep body blocking for him. Seems like they'll just go ahead as a group effort, push down towards this bottom side of the map, get rid of that final inner turret.
100% crit chance on the build as well. Triple Zeal item completed. Movement speed coming through from the Nunu.
You can see that they're still so worried about sticking around and looking for more. They will go ahead, go back to base, start prepping waves yet again.
I just need to know if it's Secret Agent Nunu or Double Agent Nunu, Achilles. They gave up a lot to run this Nunu. No effect in lane phase, sure. Not the greatest hook target, but they hit Kramer a couple of times and won lane very comfortably. Now, allowing this insanely offensive build from Kramer. 100% crit, 2.5 attack speed.
Speaking of offensive builds, though, Ghost, you know, getting rid of those boots.
In a different scenario, though. He doesn't have anywhere near the same level of peel.
Crazy. Sprinting his way out of there, does have that GA available yet again, so another delay tool available for them. Hook not going to connect. Spirit able to juke back in time. The wave being brought up at the bottom side of the map. Yeah, you can see here so far, longest game, 54 minutes, 58 seconds. We will be beating that right now.
Game will not end in the next 8 seconds.
Unless somebody surrenders, but I doubt that one's going to happen.
Nope.
Start pushing in, looking to open up these inhibitors. Afreeca Freecs is just still so dangerous for them to push forward. Kramer has to be the one to get up towards that turret. But you see the silence come through, the knock-up from the Blitzcrank, with a threat of the kickback from Bless. There's just so many tools that can pick him out.
A lot of respect being shown to the Blitzcrank hooks. They haven't been hitting the last 30 minutes like they were in the first 25. Laning phase, happiest for Blitzcrank. They start hitting on these inhibitor turrets.
Dangerous going down to Kramer. Yeah, he gets seismic shoved in down to half HP. Has to go ahead, flash away immediately. Heal still available. Shield coming through from Mard, but he gets finished off. Bless hits him with a sonic wave. Able to finish off that rumble. And now Afreeca Freecs headed for the hill. Spirit all on his lonesome, getting ripped apart by 10. Pops the Ragnarok, trying to get out of here, but it's just too late. Ghost picks up the kill. It's a 2 for 0. The inhibitor line not even exposed for Afreeca Freecs in their favor. Have to go back to the base, still have these empowered recalls, but the defense is going to be one hell of a performance if they can hold on to this game.
Yeah, BBQ's objective here is inhibitors. Take all three, basically confirm the game for them, and they understand that no need to look for anything else. Trying to fight here.
Left here. On to Martin Tucson, immediately popping down that ultimate. Kuro gets a taunt in, but Kramer, he's going to get jumped on the kickback. Comes through, he's right in the front line, and he gets deleted. Tip comes up with a kill. Now it's all just on Kuro. Tucson going down, not going to have his deathless game. Double agent, it would seem, And BBQ will be able to close this out, the longest game of the summer season so far, 56.5 minutes, and we will be going to Game 3.
And what will that mean for the Afreeca Freecs, who have always been known to look very different after defeat than necessarily a victory? The follow-up of the perfect game was a largely imperfect game, specifically on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, looking wayward at times, especially in the mid-game. But then BBQ, this game went through phases. We said, okay, super strong will the Afreeca Freecs be with 3 items, but then they would start to fall away. But late game, the Caitlyn looked like she should be escorted as the MVP, as the VIP, with 4 other bodyguards. Maren fell first, Olaf fell second, and suddenly the amount of bodyguards wasn't high enough to get the Caitlyn into auto attack range. So Afreeca Freecs go down, and amazingly, we're going to a Game 3.
They play a perfect Game 1, insanely fast, one of the fastest that we've had, and then play one of the sloppiest and the longest games that we've had in summer.
We used to have just Mickey.
Just Afreeca Freek things.
We just used to have Mickey as the man who could do that. Now we have the entire Afreeca Freecs team to take that role. We're going to see a replay of that final fight that decided it. Maren flashed in for a harpoon. That was dumb, and that meant that he went down. He didn't have Guardian Angel, of course, no longer an item that are accessible to a Rumble. Really don't know what Maren was thinking there. That meant Spirit was out of position. He died as well, and hey, 7-item Caitlyn, doesn't matter, she had 20 items. Didn't have enough of a front line to do anything more, so that one was off screen, and that one was one that Maren really wished would stay off screen.
Yeah, big botch there by the captain of the team. Let's see if they can bounce back, close things out in a game number 3. Or BBQ will finally be able to pick up a win for themselves. Precarious spot for both of these teams. Lots of embarrassment for either side that would suffer the loss. Especially, you'd have to say, for the likes of Afreeca Freecs with that veteran roster.
I mean, Afreeca Freecs just keep going to these 3-game sets, Achilles. Doesn't matter what happens in Game 1. It always seems to go this way by Game 3.
Yeah, not good for their standings either way, but we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll close out this set.